Highlights from thriving through difficult times with Lisa Wilson of L.M.W. Coaching.
My background is in human resources, and I went to school for that and as well worked for 20 years in the field. I then have been coaching probably for the last 10, and because of my background in human resources, leadership was really the best choice for me. And it is something I'm very passionate about because how we show up as a leader really makes a difference for our team and really makes a difference on how far and where the team can get to.
Lisa on how your foundation doesn't change, but your methods might.
So when things get tough, what we talked about as your foundation does not change. That is the thing that never changes. So I mentioned my vision is to create amazing leaders, or something to that effect. When COVID-19 hit, that didn't change. It didn't change at all. But what I was offering did change. So I called a few people right away just to check in on some managers and leaders that I knew were on their own. So some of the leaders I've worked with report to a board. This means they're alone in making their decisions for the most part. They're the only manager in place. And while they report to a board, those board members have other jobs. So this isn't their primary. I called them all up, and as I was speaking to them, they all sounded very stressed. And so I said to one of them, I said, "Hey, would you like to have a group meeting now once a week?" And she was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And so I kept mentioning it until several of them have signed up for that. And it really was, I often do courses or I do one-on-one. That was my normal behavior as far as how to help leaders. This was something completely different. There are no rules to this one. We just come in and simply ask, how are you doing and what do you need support with? And then the group helped each other. So just by sharing what they're doing here or what this person was doing there, they've helped each other out. And so I'm still working on creating great leaders, but how I held the space changed slightly. So I had a couple of clients that were supposed to come in person. I ended up meeting them online, which wasn't a huge change because I already met people online. So it wasn't a big change. It was just a change for that particular client. So it doesn't matter the curveball you're thrown. Take that moment, reground yourself in your vision. Again, your mission might change slightly or how you're dealing with things right now and your values. So go back to that base. It's what's going to reground you, and then you can step forward again.
On adjusting to the situation with COVID-19 as a leader.
How do I want to come through this? And how do I want the family to feel at the end of this? So now we have a vision for COVID and how we're going to come through this. And we discuss all the time how we have a choice that we can choose to see how we're being held back right now, or we can choose to see all of the options that we have to us and continue to see all of the possibilities and really how grateful we are for things. We're in a 3-bedroom house. I have an office space, which is actually just beside me. And then I have this office space for where I meet with clients on a regular basis. So I have a couple of spaces. There are 2 living rooms. Both kids have their own room. We have a ton of space. We can get our alone space. I also live in a place where there's not a lot of traffic and there's not a lot of people. So other than seeing other people walking their dogs, it's not difficult to maintain social distancing. And I've got forests everywhere. They just can't, while they're shutting down parks all over the world, they can't shut down all of our areas for walking through the bush. It's just not a possibility here. There's too much space. Which again, really, really good for us. And we have space to be able to go and do that. Well, it sucks that I couldn't go see my parents for Easter or visit them for their birthdays. I can Zoom with them and I can see all of these things. I can do these things that are important to me because family values is very important to me. So I taught my mom how to use Zoom the other day. We met for my aunt's birthday. And I mean, when we met for my aunt's birthday, I have 22 cousins. So there was a lot of us online, but it was a lot of fun. So your foundations don't change. My family values haven't changed. My goal for my business hasn't changed. My goal for my stepkids hasn't changed. I still want them to get that good education and to know that they're smart and to know that they can handle these things. While the first week was difficult, we walked through a lot of that because we're making those decisions.
Lisa with what leaders should do.
Take care of yourself. That is number one. Always number one. Get the facts of whatever curveball has been thrown at you. Get the facts, because very quickly people will change what has been said and spin it based on their fears. Communicate more often. And again, communicate again, even if nothing has changed. I cannot stress the communication piece enough. As life is changing, again, people get scared. They don't necessarily hear everything you've said. So you need to be communicating more often and more often. Be there for your team members, and this falls into emotional intelligence, and then look for opportunities, because there are opportunities, and lots of companies have shown us how many opportunities there really are.
Some closing thoughts.
Now, I know we're dealing with COVID right now, but this really does apply in any part of life. Whenever there's a change, just accept the change and move forward with what's in front of you, instead of trying to fight what's there.
Book Lisa Wilson of L.M.W. Coaching today. Visit lmwcoaching.ca.